Hello to all teachers out there who are thinking about moving to China. In this video, I'd like to talk about teaching for non-native English speakers. It's an interesting topic and I hope that it will make things clear and help to see the situation better for those who are thinking of coming and teaching in this country. Where do you come from?
Come from a very beautiful country of Belarus, country of potato, as it's been called. Although many people told me that I don't have that huge Russian accent, well, it's probably due to the reason that I never spoke English, never learned English being back in Belarus. I've acquired it being here in China from people who actually are native speakers, so I never got that huge input in my ears, in my head with the accent.
That's right. When I first time met you, I didn't know where you were from. My guess was the States.
Well, I love my country, but I definitely take it as a compliment.
What do you teach and where?
Well, later on I may tell you about my background, what I have been teaching, but right now I'm teaching IELTS speaking, mainly high school students, 10th, 11th grade.
So you work in a high school teaching IELTS?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Because at some point I got an impression that it was a private gig.
Well, that's another thing which I do. Privately, I don't teach much IELTS. I have a couple of students who still need it. Those are adults. They mostly need it for business. And again, it's not IELTS per se. They don't need to pass the test, but they need business English. Although it is related, and I use a lot of materials which I use for my high school students, but it's a little different.
So those adults, do they come to your apartment or do you meet in a cafe?
No, most of the time we meet outside somewhere in different places.
Okay. How did you find your current job?
Let me start from the back. China is an amazing country, and of course people obey the law here, but maybe not more important, but similarly important to the law, here are personal connections. That's how I got my current job, through a friend. So once I went to a comedy show in a pub, we had a lot of fun there, and we were just in the conversation. My friend asked, how are things going? I said, well, everything's good, semester is almost over. I'm not sure I will continue with this school. He said, why don't you try at my school? So all right. He gave me the topic, a couple of days to prepare. I prepared the class. I came, I rocked. They said, we want you. Since then, I've been there. So I found my current job being here in China through my friend.
So the best advice to find a job would be to just mingle, yeah, and meet people.
Absolutely, that's the best way. Well, it's difficult to say that it's the best advice because we have different options for life. Some people cannot just come here and find friends, right? If you're outside the country, it's still possible to find a job because I've used couple of very famous sites for job seekers in China, and I just posted my CV there and people called me. So it's also possible if you're outside. But of course, if you're here, it will be way easier.
Why did you decide to come to China?
It came out of the blue. I had everything you can possibly imagine. I had everything in my life. I was quite rich, I had a good job. One day I lost everything. I was depressed. I met a friend who lived in China. She said, come. I said, why? I came, had no money, no friends, no education, no nothing. Found a job as an English teacher in the kindergarten. By that time I didn't speak English. So while teaching kids, I was learning myself. That's pretty much it in 2 words. Story is very long, just don't want to bore you with all details. But again, answering your question, I didn't decide anything. It was just a try. I thought, okay, why not? I'll go. My friend invited me, and I realized that she will support me if anything goes not quite well. I got my tourist visa for 1 month, came here. She taught me how to show demo class for the agency. I went, I showed, they said, you're white, we take you. Like, all right, I didn't know what it meant by that time. Now I realize. Since then I'm here, and it's been almost 11 years. Unbelievable. I can't imagine my life without China anymore. It was tourist visa, then it was something else, and now I'm practically local person.
According to the law, which states that non-native English speakers cannot teach English in China, what are the options for non-native English speakers?
First of all, non-native speakers, they still can teach English officially if they had English teaching experience before 2018. So, if officially they were employed as English teachers before 2018, they still can teach English. This is first. Second, of course, that law brought a lot of problems for people, for non-native speakers. But again, people found ways, loopholes there. And the best loophole is you can still teach any other subject besides English. Chemistry, physics, drama, PE.
That's exactly my case. I teach music.
Exactly. So the best option would be connect your education to any subject, find a school, and welcome, no problem. If, let's say, well, my education supports me to be an economics teacher. The other issue is right now, education itself is not enough. You also need a paper which states that you have at least 2 years experience in this field, in teaching whatever subject it is. I don't think it's a problem because we live in digital world right now, so you can be teaching online. I don't know, maybe some place, some university, school back in your hometown can employ you as a volunteer, for example, and then 2 years you'll be teaching as non-paid volunteer, and you will have the paper which says you have experience. You come here, show the paper, show diploma, your bachelor's degree, master's, whatever degree you have, welcome.
So the only option that is possible is to change the subject?
I'm not sure if it is the only option.
Or to maybe work within the gray area of the law?
It's always your choice. I've always been a person who obeys the laws for some reason, I don't know why, although I've had a lot of friends who disobey those. It's easier to find legal way. Yes, it's more complicated to find the way. It takes more effort, but it's worth it. Because I've got a couple of examples, people being deported, people staying in jails, and that's not worth it to risk. It's your life.
Why do you choose working in China, opposing the idea of working back home in Belarus?
I've tried different professions back in Belarus. Well, as I told you, I've been working since I was 13 years old. I had to, and I've tried different professions. I was a construction worker, I was fixing cars, I was a DJ at a nightclub. I've tried different fields. I can't say that I didn't make good money there, but still, why do we work? Of course, for money. This is the main thing. And unfortunately, I love my country, but in Belarus, I cannot make a quarter of what I make here. My mother is a teacher, and she's been teaching for decades, literally decades. She's a primary school teacher with great experience, and she's making only this much money, and it's not enough for family, it's not enough for everything she wants in her life. Here, I work maybe a little harder, maybe same as she does back there in Belarus, but I'm making way more money. So, in the end of the day, it's all about money, always. I love my country, I miss my family, but I still love China as well. And when I go back to my home, I miss China. A week with my family, awesome. 2 weeks, great. A month, I want to go back, let's say that. It's not about money, why I want to go back, but somehow it hooks me. I got my anchor here already. Don't know, Belarus, beautiful country to visit, to see the lakes, eat a lot of potatoes, that's all.
Do you know anything about teaching jobs in other Asian countries like Korea, Vietnam, or Japan? Why Why do you choose China? Why not other Asian countries?
Well, speaking of myself, I think I told you why I chose and chose China. Yeah, I didn't choose anything. But again, going back, if I had a choice and having all the information I have now, I would still definitely choose China. Well, definitely, I think it's a strong word. I would choose China. Although I don't know much about teaching in other countries, I have a couple of friends who were there, so I'll just share their experience. Speaking of Korea, I have one friend who's been teaching there for a couple of years, quite long ago, but I believe it's still the same. He loved everything. He loved the money, he loved the environment, he loved the country, and the reason why he left, and I quote him, too much fun. So he couldn't balance his fun life, nightlife, with his work. Japan, I have another friend who's been in Japan for 3 or 4 years, I think, and he left because it was too small for him. Apartments, streets, restaurants, everything looked way smaller and felt way smaller than in China. So for him it was an issue. He wasn't claustrophobic, but still he didn't feel very comfortable there. Money, as he said, fine, but less than in China, a little bit less. Vietnam, Thailand, great places if you want to enjoy your life and time spent by the sea. Money-wise, way less than China, but life expense also is lower than in China. If you don't want to save money, great place. If you want to save some money for your future life, China is the best option.
What advice would you give to non-native English speaking teachers who are planning to come and work in China?
Well, as we talked about it before, since non-native speakers cannot teach English in China officially anymore, the best advice would be to gain 2 years experience in any other subject, let's say chemistry, physics, PE, drama, or anything else, because anyways, it's all about paper. We need documents. And when you have any proof of 2 years experience in any field, choose the field, gain 2 years experience, get the paper, welcome. That's all you need. Without it, unfortunately, it's going to be quite difficult. I understand for those who just graduated from the university, it might be quite difficult and it will take time, but anyways, we live in this world and we must realize that without experience, no one wants to take us. So be a volunteer, maybe not getting paid, gain experience, make the paper, and come. Best thing I could say.
Thank you.
No problem.